Let me tell you something. I learned the hard way. The most dangerous kind of person in America isn't always a criminal. Sometimes it's a man who thinks a badge makes him untouchable. Yeah, I'm serious. Because the moment someone starts believing that little piece of metal on their chest puts them above everybody else, that's when things get ugly. And the story I'm about to tell you proves something else too. Karma doesn't knock politely. Sometimes it kicks the door down. This happened on a humid Tuesday morning in Houston, the kind of morning where the air already feels heavy before the sun is even fully up. I had stopped by a small neighborhood coffee shop called Grind and Gather. Nothing fancy, just one of those cozy local spots with indie music playing softly, people hunched over laptops, the smell of espresso thick in the air. You know the type of place. Folks trying to wake up before work, baristas moving fast behind the counter, the quiet hum of normal life. I had taken the day off. That almost never happened. My job usually involved long hours, high stress, and dealing with the worst kinds of people this country produces. But that morning I just wanted a simple routine. Sit in the corner booth, drink a black Americano, read the news on my tablet, maybe enjoy 30 minutes where nobody needed anything from me. Nothing dramatic, nothing exciting, just quiet. My name is David Carter, and most people who meet me in a place like that assume I'm just another guy passing through. Early 40s, jeans, boots, simple t-shirt. Not exactly the look of someone who spends his weekdays chasing violent criminals across state lines. But that's kind of the point. I work as a senior special agent for the FBI, specifically in a task force that deals with organized crime and violent fugitives. The kind of work where staying calm under pressure matters more than looking impressive. So there I was, enjoying that rare, peaceful morning, until the front door slammed open so hard it bounced against the wall. Everyone in the shop looked up. A police officer walked in. Now, most cops you meet are just doing their job, right? They grab coffee, nod at people, maybe chat with the barista. But this guy walked in like he owned the building. Heavy boots hitting the floor duty belt, rattling with every step, that stiff posture some officers carry when they want everyone to know who's in charge. His name was Officer Thomas Riggs. If you lived around that neighborhood, you probably knew him. Not because he was respected, because he had a reputation. The kind of cop people quietly warned each other about. Loud, aggressive, always looking for someone to push around. Riggs didn't wait in line like everyone else. He walked straight to the counter where the barista, a young woman named Chloe with bright pink hair, suddenly looked nervous. "Morning, Chloe," he said loudly, leaning on the counter like he owned the place. "Large, dark roast, black. And give me one of those bear claws." He didn't reach for his wallet, because he never paid. Chloe just nodded and hurried to make the coffee. You could see it in her body language. She didn't want trouble. While he waited, Riggs turned around and scanned the shop. Slowly, carefully, like a hunter looking for something. Or someone. His eyes passed over the students, the office workers, the couple by the window, and then they stopped on me. I didn't look up right away. Years in federal investigations teaches you how to read a room without making it obvious. I already knew he was watching me. He grabbed his coffee from the counter, took a loud sip, then started walking toward my table. You could feel the energy shift. Conversations got quieter. A couple people glanced up from their laptops. Riggs stopped right beside my booth and just stood there for a moment, looming over me. I finished reading the paragraph on my tablet, locked the screen, then looked up at him calmly. "Can I help you, officer?" He took another exaggerated sip of his coffee. "Just doing some community policing," he said. I nodded slightly. "All right. You live around here." I tilted my head a little. "Why do you ask?" "We've had reports of suspicious people hanging around local businesses." I glanced at my coffee mug. "I'm drinking an Americano." He stared at me. "You've been sitting here a while." "That's usually what people do when they buy coffee," I said. A couple people nearby tried not to laugh. Riggs didn't like that. "Let's see some ID," he said. I didn't move. "Number." He blinked like he thought he misheard me. "Excuse me?" I kept my voice calm. "Under Texas law, I'm not required to identify myself unless I'm under arrest. So I'll ask you something. Am I suspected of committing a crime?" His face turned red. "You're about to be if you don't cooperate." "Is that a yes?" I asked. "Show me your ID." "Number." The entire coffee shop went quiet. Chloe dropped a metal pitcher behind the counter and it clanged loudly on the floor. A couple people subtly turned their phones toward us. Riggs leaned closer and placed his hand on his holstered taser. "Last warning," he said. Now here's the thing about people like Riggs. They expect fear. They expect people to back down the moment authority shows up. But when you've spent years negotiating with cartel members and armed fugitives, an angry patrol officer doesn't exactly shake your nerves. I looked him straight in the eyes. "Officer, you're attempting to detain me without reasonable suspicion. That's unlawful." His jaw clenched. "Stand up and put your hands behind your back." And then he said something that told me exactly what kind of man he was. "Right now, boy." That word hung in the air like poison. Phones started recording openly now. I slowly stood up. I am complying under protest, I said clearly. I am not resisting. Then I reached slowly into my back pocket. Hands where I can see them, Riggs shouted, pulling out his taser. I'm retrieving the identification you demanded. I held my driver's license out between two fingers. He snatched it and immediately keyed his radio. Dispatch, run a name, Carter David. Then he looked up at me with this smug little smile. Let's see what you're hiding. I leaned back slightly and folded my arms. Take your time, I said quietly. The system might flag that name a little differently than you expect. Several miles away at the Houston Police Dispatch Center, a veteran dispatcher typed my name into the federal database. The screen locked. Bright yellow alert flashing. Federal protection notice. Do not detain. The dispatcher grabbed the radio immediately. Unit 4 Bravo status check. Are you detaining the individual? Riggs pressed his mic. Affirmative. Subject is uncooperative. The dispatcher's voice came back tense. Unit 4 Bravo, stand down immediately. Riggs frowned. Did you find the warrant or not? Pause. You have a federal lockout alert. Repeat. Stand down immediately. Riggs slowly looked up at me. What did you do? He whispered. I sighed. Nothing. Then I reached into my jacket pocket. I'm retrieving my credentials now, I said clearly. Every phone camera in the room pointed at us. I opened a leather wallet. The gold FBI shield caught the sunlight coming through the window. Under it was my Department of Justice identification. I held it up. David Carter, Senior Special Agent, Federal Bureau of Investigation. Riggs stumbled backward like someone had punched him. The color drained from his face. You're FBI. I nodded. And you, I said calmly, are in serious trouble. Outside, sirens started wailing. Within minutes, 3 police vehicles and an unmarked SUV pulled into the parking lot. The door flew open again and a police captain walked in with 2 sergeants behind him, followed by the special agent in charge of the FBI Houston office. The captain looked at me, then at the scene. Agent Carter, he said quickly, extending his hand. I'm very sorry for what happened here. Are you all right? I'm fine, I said. The FBI supervisor turned to Riggs. You detained one of my agents. Riggs tried to explain, but Chloe spoke up first from behind the counter. He threatened him. We have everything on video. Several customers held up their phones. The captain closed his eyes for a second, clearly realizing how bad this was. Then he turned to Riggs. Officer Thomas Riggs, you are relieved of duty effective immediately. The sergeant stepped forward. They removed his radio, his gun belt, his taser, and finally his badge, right there in the middle of the coffee shop. Riggs started crying. Captain, please. I have kids. Just let me resign. The FBI supervisor shook his head. You should be thinking about hiring a lawyer. 2 weeks later, the videos from that coffee shop were everywhere online. Investigators dug through Riggs's history and found years of complaints and suspicious arrests. Eventually, a federal grand jury indicted him for civil rights violations. 8 months later, he stood in federal court wearing an orange prison uniform. The judge sentenced him to 4 years in prison. Badge gone. Career gone. Pension gone. All because he decided a quiet man drinking coffee looked like an easy target. And the funny part, the following Tuesday morning I went back to that same coffee shop. Same booth, same Americano, same quiet music playing, like none of it had ever happened. Now here's the question I want to ask you. Was that justice, or did things go too far? Because some people say he deserved every second of that downfall, and others say one bad decision shouldn't destroy a life. So I want to hear from you. Have you ever seen someone abuse power like that? Have you ever been in a situation where knowing your rights made all the difference? Drop your thoughts in the comments and tell me what you think. And if this story made you think a little differently about authority, fairness, or standing your ground, make sure you like the video and subscribe, because I've got more real stories like this coming your way.